Hi everyone, my name is Brianna and I'll be talking about football and religion. So, it's a Sunday tradition for those who are religious. You wake up, you dress in your Sunday best, and you and your family head to church for an hour or two to listen to the word of the Lord. Now you may not have thought about this, but there is a new religion in America that is sweeping the nation. It's called football. From trading in your Sunday best for your favorite team shirt you haven't washed in weeks so the luck won't run out, to going to the words of Aaron Rodgers in an interview instead of your local pastor for the message of the week, it can easily be said that football is starting to become a new religion. As being both a Christian that attends church regularly on Sundays, to a diehard 49er fan who goes to a game once a season, I believe that football will replace religion and American culture in the near future. Today, I'm going to tell you that fans treat it like a religion, that the attendance of the church is being threatened by the popularity of football, and that football is a religion in itself. First, let's start off with the fans, or as I like to call them, the believers. Fans are starting to treat football like a religion. People are identifying with their team rather than their religion. Fans, just like how church has followers, NFL and fans have followers too. Even fans break out into fights into teams over their religion. Even fans break out into fights into teams just like people break out into fights in their religion. For example, according to the article in Huffington Post about a fight after an NFL game between the Chargers and the Broncos, it states that the National City Police said the fight started over a man in the Broncos jersey taunting Charger fans. In other words, fans go super hard for their team. For my second point, I would like to state that the popularity of football is threatening the church attendance. Church attendance is at all-time low in America. According to an article again on the Huffington Post titled "Nobody Wants to Go to Church Anymore," more than 40% of Americans say they go to church weekly. However, only 20% actually go to church. In other words, 80% of Americans are doing something else other than going to church on the weekends. And what could that possibly be? Football. According to a study on Gallup.com titled "More Americans Are Football Fans Than Any Other Sport," more than 63% of Americans are football fans, which is 6 out of 10 Americans. And another statistic on ESPN.com about football attendance in the 2015 season, more than 28 out of 32 teams had attendance of 1 million or more fans in home and away games. In other words, people are trading in their favorite hymns like "This Little Light of Mine" for favorite chants like "Go Pack Go." And many pastors believe that football is the reason, and they're starting to move their service times around football so people can attend church and watch the game. My personal experience is when my church, who has 4 service times, moved it to 2 on Super Bowl Sunday so everybody can go see the game. And U.S. football is being so popular that they have it overseas now. And the NFL holds a game once a year in London so everybody can go see. So the popularity of football is spreading around the world, just like another U.S. religion like Mormonism that started in America and now is all around the world. For my last point, I'd like to put out that football is a religion in itself. According to the article by the College of Holy Cross in Worcester, Massachusetts, they believe there are 8 elements of religion. They are the belief system, the community, the central stories, rituals, ethics, emotional experiences, material expression, and scaredness. And I believe football has all of these things. Stadium is a place of worship where there's a belief system and also have a community. They have central stories on players that fans get attached to. They have rituals, whether it's a player who's doing the same thing over and over to this fan that sits in the same seat, the same every home game every year. And there's ethics, which is basically the principles of the game, and also emotional experiences. People are attached to the game. And also material expression, whether it's painting your whole body and cheering loudly or just wearing a jersey with pride. And scaredness, where there's nail biters in the game and Hail Marys that you have every second. To wrap up my last point, in the book titled "Sport and Religion in the 21st Century," written by Brad Schultz and Mary Lou Schaffner, it states that philosopher and former United States Ambassador to the United Nations Commissions on Human Rights, Michael Novak, says that the liturgy of a football game is indeed a communal and statewide worship. So in conclusion, as I pointed out, how fans treat it like a religion, how football is growing popular and threatening American attendance in the church, and how football is a religion in itself, it can easily see that football will become the new religion in the future. Because God is eternal, the kickoff is at noon. Thank you.
put on the game in the background on mute. Boom, I can listen to the pastor and watch a game. Yeah, football and games. Something wrong.
I know. Here you go. Sorry.
Thank you. All right, lots of good things and a couple of things to fix, but nothing that's a big problem. I like I like your topic. I like the proposition that you've got. I think you did a good job on that. I don't understand why you didn't start with your story about the ritual at the beginning, and instead you've got this ham-fisted identification of the topic. It comes across like here's the first page of the report that I'm turning in, with the title on it, and then you get to the paper inside. You should start with the paper inside. You don't need that. Start with the ritual thing. That's a little bit awkward. That's not anything that dinged you. I think it would work better that way. Like I said, the proposition was clearly identified. There's a good layout of what the secondary structure is going to be, so you're fine there. I do think that some of your secondary points need to be phrased a little bit more like claims. I thought the first one, for instance, the fans are the equivalent of the believers. If you're going to keep drawing the analogy, because this is really an argument that's based on an expanded analogy between religion and football, then I think you need to make some inference about how important the believers, the flock, the congregation is in comparison to religion, and how the same thing is true when it comes to the sport of football. And that's kind of what defines, when you're talking about religion, what do you mean by religion? Because otherwise it's just church attendance, and there's something more to it than that I think you're talking about. The transitions between the points were very clear. You're doing a good job there. I like some of the examples that you used. You had some good statistical information about church attendance and football popularity, the number of people who are going to the games. I thought that worked pretty well. The illustration about your church moving the services around to accommodate the Super Bowl, that's a good example. How generalizable is it? How typical is it that religious institutions are making accommodations for a cultural issue like the Super Bowl or any other games that are going on? I'm sure that there are a lot that are doing this, but I don't have any proof on that, and that's what I think you need. I think you need a little bit more proof on those particular points. The last point, of course, has the the 8 things that you're doing this comparison on, and you're going to have to go through them so rapidly because there's so many of them, but I don't even know what some of them end up meaning when you get to this. It's just a statement. There's not any proof or example on those points. You just draw the comparison, and then you move on to the next thing. I did like some of the comparisons that you used. The idea that American football is spreading throughout the world like the American religion of Mormonism. It's carried forth by acolytes, and missionaries who spread it around a little bit. I think maybe that's some of the terminology that you should use. And let's not limit it just to London, of course, because now they play a game in Mexico every year too. So we'll see. They're going to get everywhere, But I think the idea is that they've got an agenda in their mind about spreading it, just like all religions did. The Catholic religion spread itself, you are familiar, I'm sure, with the history of Western expansion and, the Europeans coming to the New World, and part of that is paid for and generated and motivated by a desire to spread the religious faith, that sort of thing. And here we're doing the same kind of thing, only in reverse, going to other parts of the world, spreading the religious faith, only the new religious faith. So I think you've got a good argument there. It just needs to kind of be expanded a little bit and provide some additional information on those points. All right, thank you.